Ready? 3, 2, 1. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Today is Tuesday, June 2nd, 2020. My name is Jeremy, and this is my coffee. This might be the most ridiculous year of my life. And I don't mean for me personally, I just mean the things that are happening. This is nuts. Wherever you are safe, and I hope you are healthy, and I hope you are stable, and I hope you are training. Because no matter what's going on, training can help. What a crazy time to be alive. I remain hopeful. I think that's all I'm going to say. Well, yesterday was a good day, productive day, got a lot done, lots of emails, lots of all that. Today, more just the same, with an exception. A notable exception in that it is the first Tuesday of the month. What happens the first Tuesday of the month? Whistlekick Live. 8 p.m. Eastern on Facebook. So check that out. It's going to be fun. Gabe's got some good stuff. In fact, he wrote me an email, said, here's the stuff, and do me a favor, don't check the last video. I want it to be a surprise. Since he worked so hard, of course, I'm going to indulge him. But you'll be able to check that out at the end of the show tonight. Who knows what will happen? I have a meeting before it. Stupid meetings. Let me just say, there are two kinds of meetings. And one of them is meetings that don't need to exist. And I feel like my meeting, Gabe says, super excited for that. I'm sure you are, my friend. My meeting before is a meeting that doesn't need to exist. It could be accomplished with a Google Doc or something else. Will this be more efficient? Possibly. Am I optimistic? No. Oh well. Jeremy's corollary of meetings. I invented this years ago. The more people participating in a meeting, the less that will get done. Stacy writes in, I am clinging to 2 lines of the Taekwondo student oath. I shall be a champion of freedom and justice. I will build a more peaceful world. So incredibly important right now. It is. It is. You know, the thing I want everyone to remember is that we all want the same things. We just have different ideas of how to get there. We all want to be safe. We all want to be prosperous. We all want to be happy. We just have different plans on what gets there. You know, we certainly have that in martial arts, don't we? You can take the same form done by, you know, a dozen different martial arts styles. They do it differently. We'll use proper grammar. Well, I'm excited for a few things today. Number one, I'm excited to get my plants outside for the summer. I'll hold back a couple of the tropical plants, the avocados and the palms and the rubber tree and the aloe will stay inside for a little bit longer. But everything else is going out. Yay! Plants are happy when they're outside. The plan to plant the food-bearing things, that's on Thursday, as of right now, if I can keep my schedule clear. And what else is going on today? I bring my car into the dealership for like the 4,000th time. So that'll be great. I get to deal with all that. I'm dealing with lemon law paperwork and stuff later today on that. And some client work and some whistlekick work and some other work and more work and probably have some lunch and some breakfast and some dinner and some work. So what I do? Went to Costco last night after work and there was nobody there. It was weird. It was even when things were really shut down, there were fewer people there. It was the fewest people I've seen at Costco in a long time, probably ever. But the store was fully open again, so yay! I could go up and down all the aisles, which is one of my favorite things to do. Look at all the ridiculous stuff that I don't need. What else? We got anything else? I don't think so. Let's see what you all wrote in. Remember, if you want me to respond to something, you write in. You leave me a question. You leave me a comment. You leave me a something. YouTube doesn't support pictures, so you can't do that. But a quote, a question, I'm an open book. Whose voice was that? That didn't sound like my voice. I'm an open book. No, Jeremy, that's a silly game. That's Clash of Clans. I play Clash of Clans. Because apparently I'm 12. Let's see what you all sent in. Yeah, if you haven't checked out yesterday's episode with Mr. Jack O'Halloran, you should. We're catching some feedback on that one. Some good. Not all of it good. Today we've got a number of things. So we'll start with Frank, who keeps this show going. Thank you, Frank. Frank's response to my comment yesterday about walking and movement and the importance of movement separated from exercise, the important distinction. So Frank says, I can attest to the fact that movement is medicine. I am a portly gentleman with type 2 diabetes. According to my doctor, I should be experiencing a high resistance to insulin given how out of shape I am. But because I work at a job with a lot of movement, as a bagger at a grocery store, I don't have to take insulin shots. It's amazing, and this is one of the examples when I talk about movement and how critical it is, and just in however you've got to get there, just walk. Frank, I don't know if you've ever worn a step counter, but that would be interesting. Although I'm not sure how much. Well, no, you're not just going to pivot. Your feet are going to pick up and come down. So maybe they would register as steps. I've seen baggers at busy grocery stores, and they are flying. And there's a skill to it. There's an absolute skill to it. I think people underestimate that. And you know how I know there's a skill to it? Because I tend to bag my own groceries. And I tend to bag my own groceries because a lot of the people in our area are unskilled at bagging groceries, and they like to put like 2 things in a bag and leave me 46 bags to walk to the car with. And I'm not down with that. It's too many bags. It's wasteful. But movement is medicine. Walking is medicine. I'm going to try to go for a walk today, but it's cold and it's rainy. It's kind of gross out. If it warms up, I'll try to get outside around lunchtime. Even for a little bit. There's a route that I've been taking it's probably about 1.5 miles by the time I'm done, maybe 1.75 miles. And it feels good. It's nice to be outside. There are a number of friendly dogs that sometimes I get to see. There's a small brook that I get to look at. There's some horses that I sometimes see. It's a nice spot. Not a lot of traffic. So hopefully I'll do that today. If you find that you don't move much, if you want to challenge yourself, This is a knockoff Fitbit. It's not an actual Fitbit. It's $35 on Amazon. It's from a brand called, I don't know how they would say it, but it's AMAZFIT. Amazfit? 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 I don't know. It's some Chinese generic, but it works fine. I mean, I didn't care about the features that Fitbit has. I just wanted something that would count my steps. It does way more than that, but it doesn't do any of it well. As long as it counts my steps, and I can log them into my phone. That's all. And I use it in such a way that it's I'm only at 3,000 steps. I'm gonna go for a walk. It doesn't change what I do dramatically, but it helps me prioritize. Hey, you haven't been moving much. Let's get up and let's go for a walk. There we go. Let's start with Gabe's questions. 2 non-related things. You've mentioned a few times that lottery winners usually end up poor. In the Bible, Proverbs 13:11 says, "Wealth gained hastily, literally by vanity, will dwindle, but whoever gathers little by little will increase it." I find it amazing that there is so much wisdom in a book that is so argued. The wisdom in the Bible, and this is, look, we're talking about, are we talking New Testament or Old? Gabe, is this New Testament or Old? Proverbs is New Testament? I don't know my Bible well. He's going to tell me in a minute, though. It doesn't matter where it came from. It's still valuable. It still has worth. The lessons, the stories, there's still benefit there. And when you, however old you consider it to be, we know it's not yesterday. We know it's not a couple hundred years. Okay, Gabe said it is Old Testament. Okay, so I should know. I was raised and still consider myself Jewish. I should know my Old Testament better. But I spent most of my religious education learning to sing songs. Not super helpful, but that's okay. Wisdom is wisdom, wherever it comes from. And if you look at the way most people, not the people that we see on TV or in movies, but the way most people accumulate wealth, it's slow and steady. It's a number of factors. It's saving more than you earn, or not spending more than you earn. It's saving something. It's investing that money in different ways, and investment can apply to a lot of different things. It doesn't have to be any one thing. It's increasing what you make, and it's accumulating revenue generating assets. If you want a non-biblical lesson on this, go read Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's a great book. It's an easy read. It's an entertaining book. There's a reason it sold like a bajillion copies. Go check that out. Yeah. And as you get in there, recognize that I've ignored pretty much every bit of advice in there. Not because I don't think it works, but because, well, whistlekick. Money. I don't think there's anything that causes more problems, more stress than money. And yet, it's such a wonderful tool. It's a store of time and energy and knowledge. And it can be used to solve many, maybe even most problems, if applied in the right way. It's a resource. As an instructor, I sometimes struggle with feeling inadequate and even illegitimate. Sometimes it's because I'm moody, for sure. Sometimes I feel that way because of my origin story isn't typical. How should I handle those feelings? It says read more, but it's not letting me read more. If there's more after that, Gabe, I apologize. As an instructor, I sometimes struggle with feeling inadequate and even illegitimate. I'm going to be honest. I suspect every instructor feels that at times. Especially newer instructors. And here's why. Because if you were aware enough of your own skill and the level that you're at, especially as a newer black belt, let's say the first 2 years, 3 years of black belt, could be 5. It depends on when you transition into that leadership and instructing role. Some schools started earlier. But the moment you are making decisions and you are leading the class and you don't have somebody else to answer to, if that occurrence coincides with the realization that often comes right around earning a black belt that you know so much less than you thought you did as a percentage, right? Most red, brown belts, that pre-black belt, is it gold sash in Kung Fu, right? That transitional period, when you reach that level, most people coming into that are like, all right, I'm getting there. I know this stuff. I'm awesome. And then you get there and you train and realize, whoa, there is so much more on the other side of this than I ever imagined. And you start to feel like a fraud. At least that was how I felt. And when I opened my own school, I felt like a fraud. I did. Part of it was my age. Part of it was, there were a lot of factors. But here's what it came back to for me. And here's what I would suggest of you, of anyone. What's your job as an instructor? Is your job to be all-knowing? No. Is it to be the best instructor on the planet? No. What's your job? It's to do the best you can. It's to help guide your students on their martial arts journey. That's it. If you do that and you put your heart into it, you're fine. While it is frowned on culturally, and it's not something I would recommend for a lot of reasons, someone who's got 3 years into martial arts could be an instructor. Think about it academically. We have people who attend a college class who pass that one class and are then assisting in the teaching of that class. We don't frown upon that. When you define your role as an instructor as a guide rather than an oracle, things change. And I think a lot of us have this view of a martial arts instructor as being this grandiose, all-knowing, all-powerful person because of movies and TV and oh, master, master can do anything. Why do you think there are so many masters who don't do anything in front of other people? Because the legend of what they can do has grown so far beyond their capabilities, and they don't want to shatter the illusion. Consider it this way. If you teach long enough, you will have students that are better than you at some things. Does that mean that you're no longer a good instructor? How'd they get there? How did they get to be better than you? From you. One of the most transformative moments of my life in martial arts. There was a man that I used to look up to, Sensei Rick Pelletier, and I knew him from the tournament circuit when I was a kid. Fun aside, he was Master Ken instructor, not like instructor. He had a student I've invited on the show, and it hasn't happened, and maybe it'll happen someday. Named Ferdy, Sensei Ferdy, Ferdinand Torres, wonderful, wonderful martial artist. And Ferdy was in his 20s, or Pelletier was sometimes in the same division. And I remember the first time I watched Sensei Ferdy win. And I was close enough to Sensei Pelletier that I was comfortable as I was probably 15 at the time. And I asked him, what is it like to lose to your student? Because in my mind, I couldn't wrap my brain around that. My instructors were so phenomenal. And the idea of ever being better than them was just, it was impossible. And I remember his words, I remember his face. And he looked at me and he said, that's the goal. I want him to be better than me. And that hit home. What was his job? His job was to guide his students' growth. Now, unfortunately, Sensei Pelletier passed away before whistlekick, maybe not before whistlekick, before the show. So, I never talked to him again. But in that moment, he gave me a tremendous gift, and one that really shaped who I am as a martial artist. It's not about being better than your students. It's not about knowing more than your students. Think of it like the CEO in a business. Let's imagine you're the CEO in a medium-sized business, and there's a IT department and an HR department and a sales department. Is the CEO the best at sales and IT and HR? If they are, they probably aren't doing very well. Right? You want to have the best possible salespeople selling and the best tech people in the IT department, etc. But the CEO is the keeper of the vision. They help guide the organization. They help keep everything on the right path. And that's what the instructor or the head instructor of a martial arts school should be doing. Making sure everything is working out. Making sure that the finances are working out. Making sure that the students are progressing, that the curriculum is appropriate, that if other people are also instructing, that they're doing a good job and they're growing and they're becoming better students and instructors. So, my advice to you, Gabe, and to anyone else who might be watching, who might be feeling some of this, if you're feeling illegitimate, it's probably because you're holding yourself to a standard that is unrealistic. Your job is to help your students get better. Your job as a martial artist is to help yourself get better. Don't let the two get conflicted. Right. And our last comment for the day, quote from Chuck Norris, courtesy of Frank: "There is no finish line. When you reach one goal, find a new one." I think that's so important. Imagine you're a ship. I think I've used this analogy before, but imagine you're a ship. You're out in the ocean. If you don't know where your destination is, it doesn't matter where you go, because you're not going to get there. You're welcome, Gabe. But if you know roughly where you're going, let's say you're in the middle of the Atlantic, and you know you're going to Brazil. Even a novice captain or navigator, we'll say, even a novice navigator who understands roughly the star charts and can use a compass can get you on the right course. Most of us know, like let's say if you're in the North Atlantic, you want to go southwest to get to Brazil. You just kind of head that way. Now, the closer you get, the more exact you have to be to end up in the right spot. But to start, you don't need to know exactly where you're going. You just need a general direction. And to me, that's what a goal is. Goals don't have to be hyper specific. Some people advise that they should be. And you know what? If that works for you, that's great. I tend to place a number of general goals on me that keep me moving in the right direction. And I do that because a lot of the work that I'm doing with whistlekick is undefined. We're in some new territory. We're trying to do something with martial arts that has not been done before. There is no roadmap to doing this. There is no star chart. There is no port of call that I can point to and say, that's where we're going. So I try to remain open and let the winds do some of the work. But goals are important. Otherwise, you don't even know what direction to face. So think about that. If you don't have goals in life, you won't reach them. And with that, I'm going to sign off. I hope you have a great day. I hope that if you are interested in supporting the work that we do at Whistlekick, you'll help us out, whether it's sharing an episode or subscribing to something or making a purchase. Use the code FirstCup15 at whistlekick.com. Those of you that spend any time on the site know that it's slow and it's clunky, and we're working on it. I made some improvements yesterday. I think we just need to we need to change the theme out. I think that's where the problems are. And I'm trying, right? With the 47 other things we got going on, I'm trying. What else? Oh, you can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/whistlekick. And if you do, you'll get more stuff, more content. And when we rolled out both of the strength and the speed programs, they ended up over there for free if you're in the $25 tier. So keep that in mind. Try to provide as much value as I can. Now, if you want to ask me a question or a comment, best thing to do, subscribe to this channel. We go live 6:30 a.m. Eastern every weekday. And then drop something below, a question, a comment, something you want me to talk about, and we'll do so. It's pretty much an ask me anything, so don't hold back. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'm going to see you back here tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Peace.